Welcome to Digital Transformers, the show that connects you with what you need to build, manage, and operate your digital supply chain. Join your host in a timely discussion on new and future business models with industry-leading executives. The show will reveal global customer expectations, real-world deployment challenges, and the value of advanced business technologies like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and robotic process engineering. And now, we bring you Digital Transformers.
Hello, everyone. It's Kevin L. Jackson of Digital Transformers. We're here on the road at Orlando at SAP Sapphire. Have the opportunity to meet some of their leading customers who have been leveraging S/4HANA in order to implement digital transformation in their companies. Clemencia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Oh, thanks for joining me here. Can you tell me a little bit about you?
I've been with NineDot a year exactly to the day, and it's been a wonderful journey with them and developing the entire finance function for them.
Wow, what prepared you for this? Where did you, you must have had a pretty successful career to get to where you are.
Thank you. I've had a lot of great opportunities. My career started in the typical accounting and finance space and moved into energy by accident, I say, and I'm purposefully staying in it now. So I had the pleasure of working with Brookfield most recently and was part of their digital transformation initiatives and worked with a lot of world-class collaborators and saw what it takes to create a greenfield space of technology and why it's important to not just the digital footprint, but for the operations of the organization.
How does this really been affected by the transition and move towards green energy with respect to your customers, the goals of the organization, and how you manage the finances?
Yeah, we're a purpose-driven industry, so we're lucky in that sense, but we are very complex. And even at a young stage like my organization, we're only a couple of years old, but we're small and complicated very quickly. And what we need is to really start to build a foundation for growing that organization and having tools that help us with agility and scalability that will prepare us to go from a team of 10 to a team of 50 and how to use people in a smart way, where they can add value and really leverage the automation capabilities that exist with products like S/4HANA.
So your business model must be to be really intimate with your customers and clients. And you leverage S/4HANA from SAP for that. How does it help you in that area?
I think being able to have really reliable data that we can call upon and have comfort and confidence when we speak with customers and give them visibility and transparency into what we're doing for them, how we're doing it. And finance is my area of expertise. So knowing that I am 100% sure in the reliability of what we're giving them and what they're ultimately looking for us is really helpful in developing that relationship with them, especially in early stages when we're just meeting them for the first time.
Well, you said you have a very, complex, and it sounds really complex of what you're doing, but you must have a lot of partners that you work with. How does this sort of fold into your digital transformation plan?
We are lucky that we have so much support right now in the government space and in the policy space. There's also still a lot of questions. And so having the ability to use something that's very agile when we have guidance from the government at X, but tomorrow can be Y, or maybe it's Y.1.2.
Yeah, the government doesn't really tend to not change. They change things often, don't they?
They do. And so I feel really good that we're building a foundation in the finance area that we can pivot if we need to, but we're still using best-in-class standard solutions out of the box that aren't going to require a high level of customization later to meet our needs. And so for me, that's important because I know that I can take my team and we can be self-reliant in a way, having those partners that help us get there and that help us continue to move, but that we're not stuck with a product that won't be able to move with us.
You mentioned government. The first thing that popped in my mind is compliance. Because if you're working with anything that has to do with the government, the very first thing they're going to ask is, how are you compliant with X, Y, Z? I could imagine in the financial space that could be nerve-wracking.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think for me, that's one of the reasons that complexity stands out in my space, because it's complexity in compliance, it's complexity in transactions, it's complexity in execution. So when you are dealing with that many variables, it's so important to be able to have a reliable framework and backbone of the organization to be able to drive the business that you're trying to do for the purpose that you're trying to do it, to get the customer's needs met that you're ultimately trying to do at the end of the day.
So this must actually mean a lot with respect to your relationship with SAP and how you leverage S/4HANA. When changes come down the pike, how does that affect your use of the software and your relationship with SAP? Is it something that causes friction? I can imagine.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, because I think the partnership with SAP is super important. I think mutually we understand that we need different things, but we need to come together and communicate at the right time with the right cadence. And so communication is very important to me with both SAP and our external third-party partners that also help us with implementing the different products that we're looking at for the organization. So there can be friction, but I think having that well-established line of communication and knowing that we're in it together is really what helps us drive forward and kind of prevent those hiccups. And when the hiccups come up, you work through them.
Yeah, like I said, it's as long as you have a partner that you can work with, it seems like no challenge is really insurmountable.
I agree. That's very core to who NineDot is as well. We are a team environment, and I think anything that you approach with that mentality, and we do that with SAP, with any other partners that we work with very closely, it's not a one-man show, and so it's really it takes the partnerships that we've developed and cultivated to get us to what we need to do.
From a geographic point of view, where does NineDot operate?
We're New York centered. So all of our projects right now at the moment in pipeline is in New York City. We're urban focused and one of the leaders in New York City right now with energy storage products and projects that are hopefully coming online in the coming years. So it's a long-term investment and commitment to the city of New York. And I'm very proud of that, living in the city and knowing a little bit more when I turn on my lights, what's going on behind the scenes. Yeah,
I mean, I used to live in Manhattan for a while and worked on at JP Morgan Chase, right? So I really enjoyed living in the city, to be honest. But that's very high pace, and New York is actually known for leaning forward in energy. Is that a very high stress business environment that you're operating in? They must expect a lot from you.
It can be it can be stressful, and it's stressful because there's so many components to what we're doing, and I guess back to the partnership point of view, we have so many different partners, both within ourselves, within the city of New York, external to New York, private, public sector individuals that we work with. So the pace is fast. But we are very centered in the values that we have at the organization, and we like to think that we are kind of innovators in the space for the city, and it's a driver for a lot of the people that I work with and work alongside. So it makes the pace a little more bearable.
Do you consider yourself a born in the cloud company, or?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had the pleasure of seeing what that looks like in an organization. We had a greenfield space.
Yeah.
So I'm driving that conversation in the organization and really posing a lot of questions to how we want to do things and how we want to innovate. Obviously, in the finance space, that's where we're starting, and that's a very logical place. We went from nothing to SAP, and it can be a little jarring if you are not used to that type of structured environment and tools and partners to work with, but I think that everybody's been very open and receptive to seeing what does digital mean for NineDot, and it's a journey that we're on right now.
It's continuous journey.
Continuous
for many
journey,
people
yes.
say. So, last night I was at a reception and someone asked me, when someone says SAP, what do you think? And one of the first things that sort of jumped in my mind was complexity. But if you're working a complex business like you are, you kind of need that complexity.
Yeah, I think I share that. I do think when I think SAP, complexity is a common word, but we're used to it at NineDot, I suppose. So to me, it was comforting, and knowing that we are putting in hard work at the front end and at the beginning to then get to reliable, repeatable processes that will then allow the people that I work with think big and to focus on the ideas and the value outside of what the day-to-day is and continue to enhance.
So as a born-in-the-cloud company, what does digital transformation mean to you? You're not going from, a paper and pencil environment, the legacy type of platform. Many people think digital transformation is about going from legacy to some new world, but what does it mean to you? I mean, you're clearly doing it.
It's maybe the better term for us is digital formation.
Ah, okay, that's better. I like that term.
I think it's we're lucky that we're not having to go from something to something else. It's also hard to do that because now you're also combining something that's very tangible and execution focused with the ideas. And it's a marriage of those two things, of being able to have the vision of what you want to build in the organization and knowing that you have a lot of freedom, but having the framework in place that you're going to be able to use to create something from nothing and really leverage it to scale and to be agile as you're trying to build a company as well.
So does the structure that SAP sort of overlays your ideas and your vision, do you feel that restricting in any way or restrictive, or is it sort of like a framework, a template that helps you do things better and faster?
I like the idea of a framework as a way to describe it because that's really what it offers us. And with so much ambiguity, when there's nothing, having something to lay down and work around is useful and helpful to not only the people in the finance function, but to the whole team at NineDot, who is really, we're relying on each other to be experts in our space. And so having SAP help us be good at what we are doing gives us a bit of a relief in the day-to-day.
So they truly are a partner to you.
They are.
Okay. So what would be your recommendation for another company, maybe in the energy field or in another industry vertical, that are trying to maybe transform from a legacy platform in order to become all digital? What would be your suggestion to them?
I would say to really start with understanding what your purpose is for your organization.
Okay.
What are you trying to accomplish?
A goal.
What's your goal? Exactly. Who do you want to be when you grow up, and who can help you get there? And really understanding what type of partner you need is key, because there's a lot of solutions in the space and there's a lot of different industries. For the energy industry specifically, because we're so complex, having a a solid framework that is very out of the box focused while still allowing you the flexibility to use when you're young in your lifetime of the org is important, because it brings you a sense of where you can get to and a path that you can follow at different stages. So understanding that if you are already big, then that you're going to stay big likely. But if you're an organization like mine, like NineDot, where you're starting very small and hope to become very large, having the foresight to know what those different stages are going to look like and what you'll need is going to be really important to make sure that you're choosing the right cloud partners, the right implementation partners, and asking yourself the right questions as a business of what you need and when you're going to need it.
This may be a little, I guess, off script, but many people that try to go to the cloud, the big issue is not the technology or really the business, but it's the people. Shift in a mindset. Did you notice this, or as you were trying to, adopt, or not really adopt, but formation, digital formation?
Yeah, I've seen it where I am now. I've seen it in my last roles, and it's really combining the technology, people, and process together. And you can't ignore any one of those three from the triangle. And I do think that understanding your people and where they're coming from helps you guide the conversation how it needs to go. I'm working with individuals that have never done any sort of digital transformation, so making sure that I have that foresight and that I build patience amongst the team is important. So that they have an ability to know what's coming when, and that it's not all going to happen overnight. And also focusing on what are our processes. It's not the tool that's going to solve all of our business complexities. It's going to help us to then overcome those complexities through additional processes and putting in opportunities for us to build new ways to do things. So thinking outside the box, like NineDot likes to do.
That's what it is,
That's exactly. It's thinking outside the box is what helps us really leverage all three of those things together. But I appreciate you bringing that up, because the technology is paramount, but without the people and without the processes in place, it could be the best solution and it doesn't work well.
Wow, I love your vision and your enthusiasm for what is obviously a difficult task and difficult job. So, in wrapping up, how can the audience, learn more about NineDot and maybe even reach out to you and learn more about how you have managed to accomplish these feats?
Yeah, absolutely. I welcome everyone to visit our webpage and to reach out that way. And I'm always, the beauty of being small is every message gets to you. So happy to take any questions. And I do love talking about it, because I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you get through it. And it builds camaraderie amongst your team. So it's a beautiful way to do it.
But thank you very much for coming by and spending the time in what obviously is a very busy week.
Absolutely.
So
thank you for having me.
No, thank you. Learn more about NineDot by visiting their website, and I guess you're on LinkedIn?
That's right. I'm on LinkedIn as well.
And check out Clemencia on LinkedIn. With that said, thank you very much for joining us on Digital Transformers. And we'll see you at our next opportunity to talk to a digital transformation or digital formation leader. Have a great day.
Thank you for supporting Digital Transformers and for being a part of our global Supply Chain Now community. Please check out all of our programming at supplychainnow.com. Make sure you subscribe to Digital Transformers anywhere you listen to or view the show, and follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next time on Digital Transformers.